It's cold, it's winter, it's Bookmas. Let's go, day one. Welcome or welcome back to Francesca's Books. My name is Francesca, these are my books, and here we talk about all things thriller books, and I am so excited to start Bookmas this year. This is the first time I've ever done this, and of course we're going to be starting off strong with my winter TBR, and this isn't just going to be what I'm reading through December, this is the entirety of winter. So basically this is a list of 15 books that I've had on my radar that I'm highly anticipating and are all secluded cabin winter themed. So I have no doubt you'll be able to find a new favourite. Some of these are Christmas themed, but the majority of them are just like cold weather vibes, because I don't know about you, but I really struggle with Christmas thrillers. There's a couple that I've read and absolutely loved, which will be coming in a very slightly later video. But overall, they just tend to miss because they're either like a cozy murder mystery, which just is not my vibe, or they're a detective series. There's like no in between. So I'm gonna give a couple a go this year and see what we think. If you love all things thriller books too, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more. We always talk everything thriller books here, and over the next 2 weeks I'll be posting a video a day talking about all the best, the beautiful, and some of the craziest. And speaking of, I think it's criminal that I have not read the first 2 books on my winter TBR. The first one being The Guest List by Lucy Foley, and the second being The Hunting Party by the same author. I've read this author's other books and they have been hit and miss, and I think that's why it's taken me so long to get to these, but they're both very like secluded locked door mysteries, and I love that. But I am hoping they're going to be a little bit more thrillery than like a classic cozy, but either way I feel like I need to give this author more of a chance. So firstly, with The Guest List, we're following a remote wedding on an Irish island, and that's why this one specifically has hit the winter TBR, because there's nothing I love more than a cut off because of the element vibe, because you know there's going to be no twist out of nowhere. There's not going to be a random character that's the brother of the auntie that just pops up last minute. Everybody is in the room already. So we've got the bride, the plus one, the best man, the wedding planner, and the bridesmaid, and this is told from all of their points of view. So hopefully we can go through this and this doesn't feel like there's too many characters, but these are some of my favourite types of books. And The Hunting Party is probably a slightly better fit for this video, because this time we're following a group of friends who get together to celebrate the new year in an isolated cabin. This time we're in the Scottish Highlands, and this group of people have been friends for so long, like over 10 years, that there is so many secrets, and that is when people start going. This again feels like a really good locked room mystery, and I hope it is a thriller as opposed to a mystery. But either way, I feel like we're going to have the Christmas vibes and hopefully the good writing. Then we have a little bit of a curveball with These Silent Woods by Kimmy Cunningham Grant. I picked this up from the US. I don't think you can order it in the UK, so this would be a US Amazon job if you do want to pick it up. And in this, we're in such another isolated setting, and this time we're following a dad and his daughter who live completely off the grid, apart from this one person that gives them supplies now and again, but we're talking like middle of nowhere. But as you can imagine, as the daughter gets older, she's like, why are we just in the middle of nowhere with no social interaction? Like, what is happening? And he is forced to confront, I think, the reason that's taken them there in the first place. There's also a disappearance thrown in. I do just feel like even from the cover, this just screams winter thriller. It also feels like quite a short one. It's only about 250 pages, so I feel like this is a Saturday night by the fire with a cup of tea type read. You're definitely going to sense a pattern here. The next book is An Overnight Guest by Helen Goodenkoff, and yet again we are locked in. This time we're following a true crime writer who has intentionally retreated to an isolated farmhouse to write one of her new books over winter. And this would be the perfect location for it, if not for the fact that 10 years earlier in that farmhouse 2 people were and a little girl went missing. These authors always know how to get themselves into sticky situations, don't they? Anytime a book is about an author, they just land in the middle of it. You think they'd know better. And then of course, as a true crime writer, she decides to dig into it, and that is when a little girl just turns up at her door. This book has been really, really highly recommended to me. I've seen nothing but positive reviews for it, so I feel like this is absolutely one I'm gonna get to in the next couple of weeks, if not even maybe put it in a thriller vlog. Next up, we have One by One by Ruth Ware, and I've only actually read one other book by this author, The Woman in Cabin 10, and I only read that like a couple of months ago. I don't know what it is, because I did really enjoy it. I've just never seemed to reach for this author's books, but this is one that absolutely should be on my winter TBR and your winter TBR, because we're following a little workplace snowed in situation. And no, it's not a romance book, it is a thriller book. So we're in a very luxurious alpine ski resort where some stakeholders and co-founders of a tech business have gone for a winter retreat to, I don't know, discuss business maybe. So as you can imagine, tensions are very, very high, and that is when an avalanche happens and one of them goes missing. This feels like it's gonna definitely be a thriller book as opposed to a mystery book, and that is kind of what I'm craving right now. There also looks like there's a little bit of mixed media in this book as well, so that might change it up a little bit. Then we have In the Dark by Laurith Ann White, and this is another author that I've only recently dabbled in. So I've read The Patient's Secret and The Maid's Diary by this author and love them both, given them both 4.5. So my expectations for this one are quite high. And again, we're in a secluded mountain lodge. I told you would sense a theme here. And this time we have 8 guests who have won a trip to this luxury resort. And then as a storm kicks in, the guest starts to suspect that this is actually a trap, not a luxurious getaway. So they very quickly realise that each of them has something to hide and they think someone has put them there for a reason. We also get a detective's point of view in this as well after they start going missing. Then I've got Secluded Cabin Sleep 6 by Lisa Unger on my radar. I haven't actually read too much by this author either, but this is one that continuously gets recommended in terms of that winter locked in feel. But I will say Christmas Presents by this author was one of my favourite and only Christmas thriller books that I've ever rated 5 stars and genuinely loved. So if she can do anything even remotely similar here, I'll be very impressed. This time we're following 3 couples who rent this luxury cabin together over the festive period to spend some time with family friends. But the owner of the cabin and the private chef both seem to be getting way too involved for this group's liking, especially when the chef starts telling them these stories of the actual history of the place. And of course, it's a domestic thriller, so there will be secrets galore. I really hope this one lives up because I do see it being recommended, but I also see mixed reviews on it. So I'm kind of excited to see where I sit on that debate. I'm so in my hardback era at the moment. So The Writing's Retreat by Julie Bartz is definitely one that is going to get read. I don't know what it is. I've just gone completely 180 on the medium of books that I like to read. I've gone from being a paperback only girl 100% to now preferring hardbacks. So we're following a woman who's basically given up on her dream to become a published author. It's just not happening for her, and that is when she receives an invitation to go on a writing retreat. She's extremely excited, but then finds out that her former best friend is also going. She's a little bit on edge, and then when she gets there, they're told they have to write a novel from start to finish in 1 month. And then, with the theme of the video, someone goes missing in the snow. How cool is the artwork in this as well? So pretty. This definitely feels like it's going to give all the winter vibes without leaning into Christmas too much, because sometimes it does get a little much when they start talking about Christmas 24/7, but this feels more of a January read. Then I also really want to read A Killing Cold by Kate Alice Marshall. I've only read What Lies in the Woods by this author, and I thought it was okay. So I haven't reached for anything else by her, but this seems like the perfect winter thriller. So we're following this woman who's had a whirlwind romance with her fiance, and he invites her to go to his family's for Christmas in this huge big manor estate. So we've got some rich people drama. Francesca is ready. When she gets there, she immediately senses that the vibes are off, and this is further confirmed when she finds a childhood photo of herself there. This very much feels like a domestic drama. I hope it is thriller related too. If someone could go missing, that would be nice, you know. Thriller girls, we just love it. I've seen some really good reviews for this one, so I really hope it lives up. Then we have Dead of Winter by Darcy Coates, and this is an author that I've never read from before, so this will be like the ultimate taste test. So we're following a woman who goes on a group tour to the Rocky Mountains. She goes solo, so she doesn't know anybody else, but they are in a group, and when they set off, the weather starts to take a turn for the worst. Again with the theme. So all 8 of them are taking shelter in this remote abandoned cabin, and they think it's okay, we'll just wait it out till the next day. And that is when the tour guide goes out in the night and then turns up the next day. So basically 8 strangers with no plan are trapped together. Some people have compared this to The Shining, but slightly less intense, so I'm hoping it is slightly less on the intense side. I do think this one is going to err more on the side of horror, so if you prefer more of a classic psychological thriller, then maybe take this one as like a lower down recommendation. I'm excited. And then the next 3 books are all Christmas thrillers that I'm going to read over the next few weeks. Again, I have hit and miss luck with Christmas thrillers. That's why I've put these separately. The first one, I don't know how I'm going to feel about this. It is The Gift by Frida McFadden. This is minuscule. This is literally like 80 pages. Not even 80 pages. It's 45 pages. So I don't know if it even warrants a full place here. I do really wish Frida would turn this into a full-length novel. Even before reading it, I feel like novellas are so hard to believe in and get your trust in, but it might work well as just a little Christmas Eve something. I don't know. I feel like I've got more in me than 45 pages. This literally has 6 chapters, so if you're gonna want something to just sit with, I guess it's this. And we are following a woman who doesn't have enough money to buy her husband a Christmas present, so goes into a random pawn shop and gets offered an interesting trade. That is literally all the synopsis says and all that I know about this book. I feel like if I knew any more about that, there'd probably be no point reading it. The next book is probably the one that I'm most excited for over the whole of the festive period, and it is You Better Watch Out by James Murray and Darren Wearmouth. And these are authors who I have never read before, never heard of before. Apparently one of them is a TV personality, which is kind of interesting. But I mean, look at this cover. It's just giving everything you would want a Christmas thriller to be. And we're following a woman who 48 hours before Christmas is woken up with a violent pain in her head and realised she's trapped with 5 strangers. They all have similar stories of how they ended up there, and now they're going to be unalived one by one, and our female main character has to work out what the hell is going on before it's her turn. This also feels very horror thriller. Maybe violent, maybe gritty. I don't know. And then the final Christmassy thriller, we have The Winter Visitor by B.P. Walter. This feels like it's going to be rich people drama similar to The Family Game by Catherine Steadman, because we're following 3 brothers whose grandma has summoned them to her huge mansion over Christmas. They're pretty happy. They're thinking they're going to get some inheritance, and that is when a stranger knocks on the door. But then the next day, when the Winter Visitor is unalived, they realise it must have been one of them. So, you know, families keep secrets, guys. I've never read anything by B.P. Walter before, so I'm interested to see what I think to his writing as well, but I've seen really good things about this one. With this, but also set in Scotland, so I really like that most of these are UK based, because there's something about the UK in winter as opposed to them being set in America and been, I don't know, upstate New York somewhere. Like, I don't really care as much. I mean, the Scottish Highlands, like, give me more of that. And then the last 2 books are actually Christmas romance books that I've thrown in there to mix things up a little bit. This is a very ambitious winter TBR. Of course, this will not just be over December, and I mean, I really want to get to all of these books, but whether I will is another question. They're just, I guess, the ones that are on my radar. So the first Christmas romance is Holiday Ever After by Hannah Grace. I read Icebreaker by this author and really liked it, so I thought, if I'm gonna give any author a chance to win me over with a Christmas romance, why not Hannah Grace? And she's also from Manchester, where I'm from, so. This is also like a holiday workplace romance, kind of. So our female main character has been hit with a huge PR crisis of a Christmas toy company. I don't know, okay, it's gonna be cringy, like you have to just save face with it. And then she meets the guy who's like on the other side of this battle. But even though it's workplace romance, it still feels very small town-esque. And then we also have The Christmas Fix by Lucy Score, another author that I do trust, even though I've not read too many of her books, but I feel like she's popular enough to think she can probably write a good Christmas book. And in this, we're following a small town dad who likes his things as they are, and then we have this female main character who comes in with a huge budget for a new like renovation TV show, and he's like, just keep this away from our town, like we don't want it. So those are the 15 books on my winter TBR. As I say, hopefully I will get to them all, but we will see. If there are any that you think I should read like immediately, please let me know, because I take what you guys say as the law. As always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I cannot wait to see you for Bookmas Day 2.